But even though this is a totally convincing reality for me in every way, nevertheless, Ogo is actually a construct of my psyche.
Memory has always fascinated filmmakers. Our memories and our dreams are how the human mind processes the things we've seen and heard throughout the day. And they play out in our head like movies. Our minds are also the place that the surreal becomes the possible. Of our modern directors, the director who has leaned furthest into the surreal is Terry Gilliam. Gilliam started as an animator and illustrator who moved to England in the late 1960s. He renounced his US citizenship, becoming a British subject, and ended up working on a children's show called Do Not Adjust Your Set, where he met Eric Idle, Terry Jones, and Michael Palin.
One day, as Don was scurrying across the kitchen floor, he was squashed.
When that show ended, they collectively started one of the most famous comedy groups in history, Monty Python. Gilliam did their famously surreal and grotesque animations that they used to transition between sketches.
All right, everybody, stay close, stay together, don't lag behind. Come on, keep together, everybody. Remember, watch out for the killer cars.
Yes, the killer cars. For years, the city had been plagued by ever-increasing pedestrian congestion.
Gilliam made his directorial debut, co-directing Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
As the horrendous black beast lunged forward, escape for Arthur and his knights seemed hopeless. When suddenly, the animator suffered a fatal heart attack. The cartoon peril was no more.
Simultaneously with his work on Monty Python, he began working on his solo directorial career, starting with Jabberwocky, which starred Michael Palin, and Time Bandits, which we covered on a previous episode. In 1985, he directed his most surrealist and notorious film, Brazil. Gilliam believed he had final cut, although that wasn't officially in the contract, and he and Universal engaged in a notorious public war over control of the project, which was way over budget by that time.
He thought he'd have the final word, and made the Battle of Brazil public. He placed a full-page ad in Variety. He arranged illegal screenings for the LA Critics Circle.
After Monty Python and the Meaning of Life came out, the group stopped working together, and Gilliam began directing a trilogy of more critically acclaimed and less absurdist movies.
And now for something completely different.
Second in that trilogy is our film tonight. The Bruce Willis and Brad Pitt science fiction time travel thriller, 12 Monkeys. The script for 12 Monkeys is one of the first times Terry Gilliam directed but didn't write, and it was based on the 1962 Chris Mocker short film, La Jetée.
Et que cet instant qui lui avait été donné de voir enfant, et qui n'avait pas cessé de l'obséder.
La Jetée works in extremely broad strokes, and is ironically far more experimental than Terry Gilliam's version. The basic outline is that it follows a man living in post-apocalyptic Paris after World War III who is plagued by a dream where he watches his own death as a child. Originally, 12 Monkeys was envisioned with a cast of unknown actors, but after the studio wanted to cast a known quantity, Bruce Willis is cast as James Cole. James Cole is plagued by a similar dream, and living underground after a virus kills 5 billion people in 1996 and makes the Earth unlivable. James Cole is sent back in time to collect a specimen, and to attempt to trace the origin of the virus so it can be cured in the present. Or is that the story? Could James Cole just be insane in imagining all of this? Brad Pitt plays the sinister Jeffrey Goins.
What are we for then? We're consumers. Okay, buy a lot of stuff. You're a good citizen. But if you don't buy a lot of stuff, if you don't, what are you then, I ask you? What? Mentally ill.
Whose father, played by Christopher Plummer, is a virologist whose lab contains the virus that wiped out humanity.
I took myself out of the loop. Too late. Too late. I got plans.
Somehow, Jeffrey is connected to the army of the 12 Monkeys, who the future scientists believe let the virus out in order to kill humanity. Madeline Stowe plays James Cole's put-upon psychiatrist, who he drags along on his fact-finding mission. Terry Gilliam did not watch La Jetée before directing this. Although Gilliam saw unknown actors, both Bruce Willis and Brad Pitt were both seeking to define themselves as serious actors, not just celebrities who happen to act in movies. This made them far more open to Gilliam's more immersive directorial style.
We decided he really had to train for this role because his voice didn't have the qualities needed to do it. And Brad worked really hard at this.
Walking around like this, and they need to know, something. You gotta tell them, you gotta wake them up. You gotta go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And man doesn't like 2, does he? He doesn't like number 2, it makes him itch. Truth.
Bruce Willis's history with the Die Hard franchise rocketed him to superstardom, but also typecast him as an action movie star who traveled around with an entourage and a portable gym setup.
I explained if we were going to do this film, when we first met, I said, you can't bring the entourage, you can't do any of that stuff. You've got to be naked. You're naked right now.
Brad Pitt would break through during the filming of 12 Monkeys, as both Legend of the Fall and Interview with a Vampire would be released in 1994.
Yes. When? Now. Now, Jim. Now.
Yes! Now! Buy! Sell! Start! Buy! Purchase! Sell! Yes! No more monkey business! No!